What's up, everybody? Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Okay, so here's the annoying situation for me. Sometimes people try to throw in my face that I voted for Donald Trump, which is something that I did do. And I remind people every once in a while because I know that people have strong opinions about that. So I feel like if you really hate that about me, then don't follow me, don't pay attention to me, don't bother me. It's just what it is. You know, people try to get mad at me and act like I'm gonna feel bad about it or apologize to them. And it's like, you can't unring a bell, girl. It just is what it is. I voted for Donald Trump. You don't like it. You don't like me. That's on you. I don't have anything to do with that. I really don't care. But anyway, so this guy, a couple of times now, he's tried to bring it up out of nowhere. Like, it's been on different threads, and it's been like today, I guess it was semi about that, but somebody was just talking about the left versus the right. And, you know, just how hypocritical it is on both sides. And it was a friend of mine that I respect, Chris Allen is his name, and I respect his opinions because he stays kind of right down the middle, which is kind of where I am too, because I think a lot of things in general are just bullshit when it comes to politics. It's kind of like kayfabe, you know, like the pro wrestling shit, where they pretend to be enemies, but really they're kind of on the same side and the same shit. So, I mean, like, if you're really riding hard for either side, that's your business and you're welcome to that. But don't get mad at me because I don't subscribe to that and I'm willing to be a little more like whatever about everything. Admit everybody's fucked up, including me. Everybody and everything is fucked up, you know? And so, but this guy tries to bring up the fact that I voted for Donald Trump every once in a while. And so I was like, in my head, this is the moment I've been waiting for. A white liberal wants to really talk to me about this. I'll entertain this because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people thinking that they can tell me how I'm supposed to vote. And one of the most insulting things that people will say to you is that you're voting against your own interest. How do you know what my interest is? Just the fact that I'm brown and gay tells you what my interest should be? Suddenly I'm supposed to have been all about gay marriage. Maybe that wasn't a focal point in my life at that point. And so maybe I wasn't that worried about that, you know, back when that was a thing. Technically at that time, if you want to be honest about it, everybody was against gay marriage. Even the fact that we got a black president, a lot of people would have, like when I was growing up, people would have laughed at you. If you said that we were even going to have a black president, people would have laughed at you. If you said the black person was going to run for president, people would have laughed at you. You know, I mean, like, yeah, after a while we got Jesse Jackson, but I'm talking about when I was little, no. People were like, no, we're not having a black president. And people would say it in racist ways. And so for me, I don't think any white person can ever well, I know for a fact no white person can ever tell me how I should vote or feel about anything when it comes to politics. I know that. I mean, I'll have those discussions with other people of color, and that at least, you know, I can really take into account because different people were raised different ways, and regionally there's different things that people went through, and there's different ways, different reasons that people vote the way that they vote that are outside of just their skin color or their sexual orientation. But for some reason, when it comes to me, white liberals think that they should always be able to tell me what it is I'm supposed to think. But if you're really that liberal, shouldn't you just be glad that I'm voting? Shouldn't you just be glad that I'm exercising my right? Maybe I'm confused on what it is you're supposed to be doing, but I feel like you're supposed to be more of a cheerleader and just kind of kick back because the way I was raised was white people were in charge of everything, and that definitely was annoying. And I'm glad to see things have changed, and believe me, I want things to change even more than you do. But when I see the way that people act when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially people that are supposed to be liberal, it's like, no, you don't even know how to talk to people. You don't even have respect for people. Like, you don't even have my vote, and that's really what it's about. It's about the lack of respect that I get from people that claim to be liberal, people that are supposed to be the same thing that I am in a lot of cases, LGBT even, trying to tell me what it is I'm supposed to think and what it is that's supposed to be my biggest concern, and how you know? You're not living my life and I'm not living yours. And that's not something I try to do with people. I'm not trying to tell people how they should vote. I tell people how I voted. I tell people how I think about different things. So who are you to come in and tell me this is the way you're supposed to actually think about things? How do you even know? How are you even fit to make that decision? So yeah, I welcome your questions because I would answer them as specifically me. Not as a voting block, not as just a random brown person, not as just a gay man, but as me, Ty Rivera, the person that you're actually addressing these questions to. That's who I'm going to answer as. And I expect you to come at me as the person that you're supposed to be. But I don't really think you're a person is the problem. I think you're somebody that reads a lot of stuff on Facebook and thinks a lot of things. Like, I don't even know if I know this person. This is the most annoying thing, right? Because like he puts these posts up where he's kind of like poking at me like, you know, like he's trying to like I knew he wasn't just asking the question, like he wanted to go somewhere with it. So it's fine. If you want to do that, then let's do that. But let's do it on my page so I get the traffic and so my friends can actually see my thinking on this. And I'll be as respectful about it as you can be when you're letting somebody know that they really have no business telling you how you should be voting or how you should be thinking. I'll be as polite as I can be, and I won't allow friends to like jump in and, you know, start with their comments. I prefer nobody chime in. I prefer it stay just me and you so that I can answer these questions that are bothering you so much that you feel like you have to bring it up every once in a while. Let me help you figure out what it is you want to figure out. That's the way I feel about it. But then so I don't have to explain it to a bunch of other people, they can just read the thread and they can be like, oh, okay, this guy actually ask the questions, and hopefully you get everybody's questions in there. I don't have a problem with the conversation. What I have a problem with is the fact that you think you're actually going to be right in the conversation. Like you're going to tell me the way that I should have voted as a brown person. You know, I mean, like there's something I get to see about the world that you'll never get to see as a white person, and that's the world as a brown person. And not to mention the neighborhoods I lived in. Like when the election was going on, the last election was going on, I was living 1 block away from MacArthur Park. And anybody would tell you, I walked my dogs every day in MacArthur Park. Do you know what MacArthur Park is? That's where MS-13 first set up shop in the States. And so like that was the neighborhood I was living in. So I used to see that stuff firsthand. When it comes to, I talked today on a thing I did where they asked me 5 questions. One of the 5 questions was, what was my strangest job? And it was passing chickens. And you're working next to it's migrant work. It's what they used to call wetback work in less politically correct times. You know, back when I was doing it, I was like 15 years old, and I did it because they didn't ask for ID. And you just passed a bunch of chickens. Just, you know, they grab 3 chickens, you pass them down, you're just like a human conveyor belt, and you're just passing chickens. And sometimes the chickens go crazy and they attack your hand, then you're instructed by the guy that's like running it. He tells you in Spanish, and then your friend translates it if you're me. And you fucking like hit their head against the cage, and then the chickens like get stunned and they stop, like, you know, trying to bite your hands. But like while I'm doing that work, you know, of course I got the job. I'm brown and I don't have an ID. I'm underage at the time, you know, and like, you know, I had all the makings of one of their best employees. And so, you know, I'm working next to actual migrants. So while I'm doing this because we wanted to get extra money for school clothes, there are people that I'm with that are doing this for a living. This is what people do. That's something you as a white man will never experience. You know? I mean, like, everything about my life makes it so that there's no way you could possibly tell me who I'm supposed to vote for or why I was supposed to vote for anybody. I bet even our friend circles looks different. I bet even the way we talk to our friends is completely different. So there's nothing about you that tells me that you should be able to tell me what I'm supposed to think or how I'm supposed to vote. And then afterwards, like, he admits, you know, because I was like, let's do it on my page and that kind of thing, you know. And so I put it on my page, like, you know, hey, this guy really wants to ask me some questions, so I'm going to allow it, you know, if anybody wants to tune in. And so let's have this conversation. I'm willing to have the conversation. That's what I want everybody to understand. This wasn't me being a bully. This wasn't me being an asshole. This was me saying, let's have this conversation since you want to have it so badly. So then he like responds with that I was just going to try to bully him on my page, basically was what he said. And then he blocked me. And he said he was just going to try to prove that I was a piece of shit anyway, which I've already proven online. And it's like, I don't even know if I know this guy. And I'm not being even a little bit shady when I say that. I think I might have met him in North Carolina, but just briefly. I don't know this guy. Like, I don't know this person. If I met him, it was just briefly in North Carolina in Wilmington. And I think he was one of the people I talked to after the show, but it wasn't at all confrontational or anything. And, you know, my act has always been like what I am, you know, and so I like, you know, it's not like we had a real relationship. So it's like, I don't even know if I know you, but you're going to prove that I'm a piece of shit. Which, you know, people that know me, and a lot of people know me, they'll describe me as a lot of things, but I'm not usually described as being a true piece of shit. I don't put up with a lot of people's stupidity, obviously, but I'm not really what you could call a piece of shit person. So it's like, all right, well, you know, if that's what you were trying to prove, then I guess we're not having the same conversation here, because I personally thought we were going to talk about politics, and you're trying to prove that I'm a piece of shit, which I don't know you well enough to prove what kind of person you are. I don't even know if I know you. So even that is ridiculous to me. And it, like with some of these people, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't know if there's some sort of underlying mental issue going on, because it's like you've built up this relationship with me that I don't have with you. I don't even know if I know you, but you think I'm one of the worst people in the world. Yeah. So, you know, I hope this explains kind of the way I come at things and why it is that I get the way I do sometimes, you know. I do genuinely feel insulted when people think they can tell me what's in my own best interest. And when people think that I must be a certain way, I must hate my own people to have ever voted for Donald Trump. I must hate women to have ever voted for Donald Trump. Don't mention Hillary. I just want you to tell me why you voted for Donald Trump. Well, I had a choice between him and Hillary. So maybe I could tell you some of the pros and the cons from both and how I weighed it. Or are brown people not allowed to think on that level? Are we not allowed to do any comparison shopping when it comes to, am I just supposed to be like, oh, well, they're more liberal on immigration, so I guess that's the way I'm going to vote. Never mind the fact that everybody in my family was born in this country. So why is that supposed to be the most pressing issue for me? I really wish he had just had the conversation. I do. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.